This episode is like session 0 on D&D, where we're just kind of kicking stuff up. We're kicking s- we're kicking we are kicking things off. That is the phrase that I'm trying to say. I'm Mindy, and I have a microphone. So this must be Mindy and the mic from Stigma to Connection. Let's have a conversation. Hey there, and welcome to the very first episode of Mindy on the Mic from Stigma to Connection. I am your host, Mindy Bernice, and I'm so excited to have you join me today. This podcast is all about breaking down the walls around mental health, diving into those hard conversations, and making sure that no matter where you are at in your journey, you feel seen and heard. On this podcast, we'll be exploring everything from counseling tips to relationship advice with your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, and wife, personal growth, and even the funny and awkward moments that we all experience as human beings. Because let's be honest, we are all kind of awkward and all kind of. We make mistakes because that's how the human life works. Whether you are tuning in on Spotify, Apple Music, or Google, or if you're watching your favorite podcasters interact with you on YouTube like I do, I just want to take a moment to say thank you so much for listening. So, the next question that you might have is, who am I? And why should I stick around for this? Well, let me introduce myself a bit and share some fun facts. I am actually a mental health counselor here in Omaha, Nebraska. I opened up my own private practice very recently in June of 2024, and I specialize in trauma therapy. And I also do faith based therapy. I am self proclaimed Christian counselor. But besides the professional title, I do a lot more than just see people and see clients. I really love good conversations. I'm an extrovert on that spectrum. I am a 7 on the Enneagram and also an ENFP, ESFP. I have the Woo trait on the Clifton Strength Finder, so I really like people overall. Some fun facts about me is that I am a huge fan of the show Law and Order SVU. And if you are also a fan, you can understand how that show can just suck you in. Just about the stories and the cast, everyone from Olivia Benson to Finn to Carisi. You just kind of follow the lore of the show and you just get it. It's addicting. I am also not just a therapist, like I said, I am a photographer. So I love interacting with people and I love photography because you just get to interact with people on a more surface level, I would say. And photography is just fun for me to post people, to take the snapshots of weddings, to take pictures of engaged couples. Yeah, it's just fun for me to edit the photos and to be behind the camera. I also love learning. So I love to read. I love learning about new things, about counseling, about business, or trying a new hobby. I'm currently attempting to try to run a marathon in 3 weeks. So we will see how that goes. And maybe I would have learned my lesson of I probably should have trained more. But here we are. Another fun fact is that I've only been to one college football game while I was in college. Go Cyclones at Iowa State University. My friend group at Iowa State did not want to go to football games, which was okay. I just learned that I liked football after my college days. I am also a big Packers fan, but I'm kind of a bandwagoner. All my friends in high school grew up liking the Packers, so it just so happened that I did too. And I love the color green as well. So, you may be asking again, why did I become a therapist? And this is a question that you should honestly ask every therapist, even ask your own. So, one of the most important things that I want to share with you is that my story is not your linear straight path, and my story definitely has some bumps and turns. But I wouldn't trade any of it in the world because it's who I am. It's how my story shaped me of who I am today. Like, if I didn't go through hard struggles, I don't think I would be who I am as a therapist today. I was adopted from China as a baby, so I was left on the doorstep of an orphanage because of that rule in China that you can only have like one kid. And coming from that, I was adopted into a background of trauma and dysfunction. So there was a lot of challenges growing up, identity struggles, emotional pain, and moments of just feeling disconnected and finding who I was. But at the same time, it was a story of hope, resilience, and finding my place in the world. As I grew older, I began to realize that my story, while it was very difficult at times, it gave me a deep sense of compassion for others because I knew what it was like to feel rejection, to feel lost, and to wrestle with identity, and even to see my self worth. And I saw so many other people feel the same way, whether it was a friend or a stranger. I saw a lot of people in my lifetime often feeling alone and in pain because people didn't really see them. So I felt like it was a calling to become a therapist because it turned my pain into a purpose. And I also wanted to give a chance for someone to have a listening ear. I wanted someone to feel a chance to share their story and to find a space to be fully seen and to process their own trauma and to discover their worth and potential. And it's not just about offering advice, that's what I've learned in the past few years. It's about listening and sometimes understanding that words do not fix the most broken parts of you. Sometimes silence does, and just to have someone else there in that moment of darkness and offering a place of hope and guiding them to a place of restoration. I am still learning this to today that I am not perfect and no therapist is. But I'm reminded that every single day, that no matter where we come from, there's always room to heal, to grow, and to rewrite our stories. We get to own our narratives. And that's why I'm here to do what I do, I think that I'm called to do. And that's why I started this podcast, because I believe in the power of connection and the power of finding wholeness together. So, your next question may be, why did you start this podcast? Well, that's a good question. Again, in my work as a therapist, I see a lot of people carrying around so much shame and guilt and isolation when it comes to their mental health. And I felt that conversation around these issues needed a new refresh and a new rebranding to something more relatable, more open, and something judgment free. And that's exactly what I hope to create the vision here with Mindy and the mic, from stigma to connection. My goal was to take that stigma out of mental health and bring into a conversation about everyone's journeys together and to foster some real honest connections with one another, whether you listening or whether the people on this podcast. I want a space where people can feel seen, heard, loved, and to share their narrative and their story. You can find that we will talk about all the weird, wonderful things and the complex parts about being a human being. Because life is complex, messy, and sometimes downright confusing. And that's okay. We can still find joy, humor, and just laugh about it too, because that's what life is about. That's what life's about, is to get back up and to just keep going. Now, let's talk about what you can expect, like on the practical level. This podcast is going to be full of so many different things because, let's be honest, we like variety here. There will be episodes where I dive deep into interviews with people from all different walks of life, from the stay at home mom who stays at home full time, to the 9 to 5 engineer who gets tired of his job, to someone who's looking for a job, to someone that maybe they don't know where their purpose is for life, or maybe there's someone who has a 100%, they have a 100% mantra of where they are going and they have so much motivation. It won't be just from people with big social media following or fancy titles. I wanted to invite real life people from conversations from everyday to day lives, because every story is worth sharing and every story has value to it. I'm also excited to bring you some Q&As where I will be answering where I will be answering your burning questions about mental health, relationships, faith, and whatever else is on your mind. We'll explore some of the latest research articles out there, breaking them down into practical, relatable tips that you can actually use. Plus, and I'll throw in some fun facts about mental health to keep the podcast light and fun. And also, on another fun sense, everything is so subjective. So, everything that might work for me might not work for you. So, we'll do some trial and error here. This show is all about bringing together perspectives from every story and walk of life. I am a Christian and my faith is very, very important to me, but this space is inclusive. I do not discriminate and I do not need you to be the same faith as me or look like me or talk like me. You probably will not talk like me, actually. I want everyone to be here to know that you are safe, and my hope is that you find connection, inspiration, and support on here when you're listening, or for people who are on the podcast, no matter who you are or where you come from. You do not need to be the same faith as I am, and like I said, you don't need to talk like me. You probably will not talk like me. And so that's a wrap for today's episode. I hope that you're excited as I am about what's to come on Mindy and the Mic. Whether you're tuning in to listen, to learn, to laugh, or to feel less alone, or even to catch up with me because for some reason you lost my number. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this first episode. So, yeah, if you have any questions, please, please, please feel free to reach out and do not hesitate to DM me or leave a comment below. Thanks, guys. Bye.